Welcome to Cohesive Friendship Unit. My name is Chris. I am here with Jeremy,
What's up?
Brian,
What's going on?
and Jake.
Hey guys.
Guys, the wait is finally over. Well, the wait is over so we can start waiting. Because we have The Last of Us Part 2 release date, February 21st, 2020. Let's go. That's actually not that far away. We're going to talk all about the trailer, everything we kind of thought about it, maybe some analysis if we have any. And yeah, but before we do, there is a Steam code in the description of this video. That is because you guys helped us reach 1,000 subs this month. Also, it is our 2-year anniversary, so woot woot. First come, first serve on that. Congratulations to Ray of Minneapolis for winning the Conan Exiles code. We are still reaching out for Astrologia codes. All you have to do is be subscribed. Alright guys, Last of Us Part 2. This whole PlayStation State of Play thing, I made a video about it, and I was like, guys, PlayStation State of Play might be like really cool now. It seems promising, and I think it sucked really bad, except for The Last of Us Part 2, which was sick as hell. What do you guys think of the trailer? Just like knee-jerking. And the release date.
It's soon.
It's soon.
Release date is soon.
I didn't actually see the date. What's the date?
February 21st.
That's pretty soon.
2020.
And we predicted that. We predicted February. Just going on the record
We
there.
did.
So claps.
100% accurate prediction rate. Never gotten one wrong.
Yeah, never.
Yeah,
we
every
have
single
we have
correct.
never gotten a prediction wrong on this channel.
We're pretty good.
Makes you think.
I thought the trailer looked cool. I'd play that
My
game.
dad works for Sony.
Brian, what did you
That's
think?
why we're so biased against Xbox.
Yeah, but the trailer was good. I liked it. I thought the first trailer was better. It just showed
Do you mean the E3 one?
more. Yeah. But this one definitely had more story, which I think a lot of people are interested in, since Last of Us is such a story-driven game.
I like how they
So-
carried it from... So it was like a continuation of the E3 trailer, basically. Like, it was the scene with the kiss, and then it was the next day, because they say in the scene on this, they're like, how would you rate our kiss or whatever. So like, they have like a narrative going, and this seems very much like the beginning of the game. This seems like the catalyst for your journey, basically. Like,
Right.
you have this love interest, and she gets killed or kidnapped or something by a group, which you then seek revenge on, based on the other two kind of supplementary trailers, with the first one being when she was like, I want to go kill every fucking last one of them, and the other one where the girl got fucking, what was it called, wings clipped? Her wings were
Yeah.
clipped.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
So, yeah, I think you're the only one that's actually played Last of Us, because the rest of us don't own PlayStations. But from my understanding, the Last of Us original was much more maybe survival oriented in the beginning until kind of later in the game, whereas this one seems like we're coming right out in the beginning where we're just like, we're gonna kill a lot of people. It seems a little more action oriented.
I mean, The Last of Us is pretty violent the whole way through. I'd say it was about the same, like vibe,
Cool.
and very visceral, just like the first one. Like it's pretty gruesome shit that you're doing.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was a shift for them in the second game. But
I will say the big change is it seems like you will, at least the way it's being presented, the majority of the time you're playing as Ellie this time instead of Joel.
Yeah, that seems pretty clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's neat. The thing I like about this trailer the most, personally, like, obviously the release date was nice, but I like that knowing the release date in the context of this trailer, this is realistically what the game's going to look like at launch. It's probably basically done at this point. And it does look different from the E3 2018, and I think it looks really, really good. Like, just as a game.
Brian was actually commenting
Yeah.
how he thought this most recent trailer, the State of Play trailer, did not look as good graphically as the E3 one.
Or I'd revise that statement. I wasn't as floored by this trailer as I was by the like I just wasn't as impressed as I felt like I was going to be.
I would agree with you.
There were a couple of moments, like the horses to me, like Red Dead, I think, looked better than that. That's just me. But like there was a couple of the scenes in that trailer when they were riding the horses, I was like, that could have been a little bit. On the other hand, there were some other sequences that I thought were really fantastic, but I was kind of expecting to think it was really fantastic the whole way through.
Yeah, I mean,
so I guess I'm just being a
well,
dick.
I kind of agree with you, Brian, but that I like that, I guess. Like, this looks, honestly, I think nobody expected that E3 2018 footage to be like what it was. Like, that everyone was like, that looks highly manufactured. Jake called it out like last time we talked about The Last of
polished.
Us. And I like this because this is what it's gonna look like, almost definitely at this point in the game, and it looks really, really good still. Like, I don't have a problem with it at all. It feels like we're seeing the game for the first time, you know, like in its true light.
It's just when you set a really high standard for yourself, like it gets hard to keep. You got to keep jumping over that bar, you know.
Right, and they're kind of in a tough situation as far as graphics are concerned, because a lot of other games have done specific areas better. I mean, just in that trailer, we saw horse riding, snow levels, forest levels, like everything. Whereas you have games
going for
like
snow, dude.
Right, and I want to say like Horizon Zero Dawn did a fantastic job with it, and not a lot of people have lived up to that since then.
God of War.
God of War. I again haven't played, so I didn't want to throw it out there, but I knew you would probably jump in if there was snow levels in there. But a lot of games have done it better, but they were also like Red Dead, like you ride horses. That's like the whole game. So I would definitely hope they did it better.
Yeah, but
that wasn't a dig at your comment. I'm just saying Last of Us has a lot to deal with, and I think it's good considering how much they seem to have taken onto their plate.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want it to seem like I think I think this looks really good. Like, I don't know. It still looks like something that I might consider buying, and this is not generally the type of thing that I would buy. So, all in all, I quite like the trailer. Don't get me wrong.
How are you feeling about this, Jeremy?
I think it looks really cool. I would definitely play it. My kind of follow-on question, as someone else who hasn't played the first game, my impression was that in the first game, it was the enemies were mostly zombies. Is that fair?
Half and half.
Okay, so because it looks like it's a pretty solid mix of like Homo sapiens and zombies. But basically, I kind of like the narrative structures that I'm seeing so far. Like, it seemed, like an intriguing premise. I don't know. Like, I think it looks promising. It's in addition to being a game that may or may not be fun and like beautiful, it's well known for having like a compelling narrative, and it looks like they're going to carry that through. So, if I had the means, I would definitely pick it up based on these trailers.
Yeah, I want to talk about the story, at least your guys' vibes on the story. Also, yeah, just to comment on the enemies thing. This is, to my knowledge, the first time we've seen the clickers, which are the zombie-like entities, and I think they look pretty good. But yeah, this is the first time we've seen them, which is kind of interesting. But from a story perspective, like, the first game was very much about like Joel and Ellie, and obviously the coming of age of Ellie and Joel being a father figure, but them developing together. But it was a journey of Joel getting Ellie to a specific spot, and it was really a journey, like a physical, like, go across the country type journey. This seems like a revenge driven kind of quest, whereas the first game was very hope driven for at least the first like 3/4 of it, and this almost kind of carries themes of the ending of the first one, which I won't spoil, but there just seems to be like a different tone with this. It seems very angry.
Well, I mean, the game is called The Last of Us. Like, I wouldn't expect that it would be hopeful.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah, I just want to talk about that. Yeah, how do you guys feel about the direction?
my first impression when the video started was like, oh, they have this kind of civilization that has been built up, and there's a community of people who are surviving. It's just not the two of them on their own anymore. And then, Ellie gets pulled out of that through the kidnapping and/or murder of her girlfriend, and her potential. It seems pretty heavily implied to me that she was raped by those guys.
Yeah.
So there are these traumatic events that kind of pull her out of the kind of hope that she had established. So I think that's interesting that it's almost, in the first game they were maybe looking for hope. In the second game, they've maybe found something to hold on to, but in a different way. They have to, Ellie has to go fight for something that's meaningful to her. I think it seems really interesting.
It also seems like
not super cliche.
Yeah, it also the first game kind of at a point makes you ask are we the baddies? And it seems like this theme might be perpetuated a little. It seems like she's going to certain extremes.
The monster is within.
She's got it.
Yeah.
But going back to something that you mentioned earlier, Chris, I like that not only did the two trailers connect quite well, but The Last of Us the first game and the second game kind of flow right into each other. So, not to spoil too much of the last game, but they end up where they're starting out now. And, I mean, a lot of time has passed, but they're now living in the settlement that they ended up in the last game.
To me, the only thing narratively that felt a little forced was Joel showing up at the end. I'm a little unclear on how exactly his character is inserted into what seems like a pretty separate narrative, because it didn't seem like Joel lived with them at that same place.
I think he runs the settlement.
Yeah, he was with them. He was with Ellie at the end of the first game, at least. It's not like they split or anything.
Right.
Oh, okay. So I guess just because he hadn't been in the trailer, but maybe they were seeing that as a fan reveal.
The way that, I think it was a fan reveal. The way that they brought him in was really awkward. Where he touched her shoulder and she didn't react at all. She was just like, "What are you doing?" And he was like, "I'm here."
I'm touching
he covered her. He covered her mouth so she didn't scream.
Yeah, but
didn't he do that in the first game?
I'm sure he did. There's a lot of
I thought that was
covering
kind of a
people's
trope.
mouths. Usually they die at the end, but
True.
But since I'm assuming both Ellie and Joel are going to be available at the beginning of the game, since we obviously all now know that Joel is going to be with her, I wonder if it's going to be more split gameplay between the two of them, or if it's still going to really just be you playing as Ellie and with occasional Joel gameplay.
If I had to take a guess, if it goes by the same run of the first game where there's 4 seasons that makes up the plot, you will play as Joel for 1 season, would be my guess.
I think that's a good guess.
The roles,
now that they're not
equal.
falling into obviously playing as Ellie kind of fit really well with the narrative. She eventually got to that point, but they're both obviously very capable people, so you could right off the bat play as both of them. So I wonder if that'll be an option, if they're gonna, maybe you can switch between the two characters, or do they just split it up by season like you're estimating?
Yeah, I could see it going either way. I see your point now where the reason you didn't play as Ellie for the majority of the first game is because she hadn't matured to that point yet, if that makes sense, right? And now they both are at that point where they can destroy people without blinking an eye.
Right.
I think the first game also, it seemed, again, from an outsider's perspective, it seemed like it was set a little bit more in Joel's perspective. And I just think, again, narratively, I think it's just more fertile grounds to really center on Ellie, because we know a lot about her from the first game, but just to really center her experience and her perspective isn't something that they've explored yet as much in the series.
And this, like we talked about, the narrative portion, like this time she has a narrative goal, whereas in the first one she was more like a tool for a large portion of the game.
Right.
The goal,
Escort mission.
Yeah, the reason he was escorting her is because she was the potential cure for the outbreak.
Yeah. And not to dive too deep on this gameplay part, but a lot of games that have like companions like this, I'm thinking like God of War, BioShock Infinite, you play as the main character and there's a companion that you don't control, but they're always younger. And I think that always fits in well because our AIs are better, but still not as good as a human player. So they can always kind of mask poor AI as, oh, they're still coming of age. Whereas if you now have a companion that you can't control that is older than you, I wonder if that's going to break the immersion of poor AI and someone that's supposed to be your original protector and role model.
It's an interesting question.
Yeah, I was also thinking like they made a point to make Joel. It kind of complements what you're saying. They made a point to make Joel look like very aged.
Right.
It's been a hard 10 years.
It might be like the inverse of like instead of like, oh, they're really young, it's like, oh, well, he's old, and that's like where you cut him slack,
Right.
you know?
That's true.
Well, what do we think about now that it's all out, right? We have a release date. We have relatively close to launch gameplay footage and story footage and all that. Where does this rank as like anticipation for you guys? Like of all the games that we know that are coming out, so that, you know, we got Pokemon, we got Kerbal Space Program 2, we got Breath of the Wild 2, Last of Us. Like, how are you guys feeling about The Last of Us Part 2, knowing everything we now know?
Well,
I mean, I don't have a PlayStation.
Yeah, none of us can play
Yeah,
it.
considering we don't have PlayStations. We'll just pretend that I do have one. I would definitely put it... I wouldn't say it's the top. I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed Breath of the Wild, and I'm quite excited for Breath of the Wild 2. But considering that, it would definitely probably be in the top 3, top 5 games for me.
Be my top 10. Like, probably not as anticipated as Cyberpunk or Outer Worlds or, I don't know, Pokemon or...
Animal Crossing, you can admit it.
Yeah.
Fuck that shit, dude.
Yeah.
That shit's goofy.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
This year's going to be a lot of good games.
Yeah, there's some good titles coming out. Or obviously, Death Seated. That's a thing.
Baby
Yeah.
Transport
Baby-
Simulator 2025.
You get to rock the
Baby
DualShock
Goop
like
Simulator.
it's a baby to soothe it.
to,
I mean,
to soothe the baby in your stomach.
yeah.
What more could you want?
Then you swallow it again.
Gotta
Force
do-
back down.
Brian,
You have to
like-
shake the DualShock vigorously to spit up the baby.
No, dude, you can't shake it too hard. You give it brain damage. But
Yeah, they'll send the cops to your house.
take the kid away. Child Protective Service. All right. No, but we're not talking about that game, though. I don't know. Like, if I had a PlayStation, I'd probably get this. Like,
Right.
I don't have a PlayStation, and I'm not going to go out and get a PlayStation to play this. And I'm which is the same for like Breath of the Wild and Pokemon and all that. Like, I'm not going out and buying a Switch to play those games.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get Kerbal Space Program too, because like I have a problem with that shit. But you know, if I had a PlayStation, this would probably be like contender number 2 for a game that I might actually buy this year.
awesome.
Compared to the other PlayStation games that are coming out that we know about, I think this is probably my most anticipated one for PlayStation specifically, even over Death Stranding.
Damn.
I will agree with you. This is
Damn.
yeah, no, this is bigger than Death Stranding for me. This is honestly, it's bigger than Breath of the Wild 2 for me. Like this is
Wow.
my number one anticipated game.
Here's the question.
And
though.
Chris
If
said
we-
that Breath of the Wild was the best game of all time. So,
It is
Dude,
objectively.
he cucks for Nintendo.
I do.
so this is the best.
Well, so
Dose.
I'm a little biased because I just got a Zelda game like a week ago. That being Link's Awakening. So I can't, this is
You've been
like
eating.
this is like
You're full.
7 years in the making or whatever. So I'm ready for this one.
Your tummy's rumbling. You need that.
Yeah.
Here's the question though: if we knew more about Death Stranding, like if they had come out with a trailer for Death Stranding that actually answered questions instead of just creating more, do you think that it might be on more equal footing for most anticipated for you guys?
I personally don't because they didn't put out. I suspect they were purposely doing whatever they were doing. There was a 50-minute gameplay trailer that came out that was in Japanese, and it was literally him like I said, it was like him like shaking the controller and like walking around. He put the baby in a hot spring and Norman Reedus sang to it. It was just like so much like what the fuck are we doing here? Which I'm cool with. This is like concrete video game. I know I will like it. Death Stranding is like I'll probably definitely like the story, but like the rest I have no idea.
Yeah, same boat. This is this whole genre for Last of Us, God of War, this like very narratively driven RPG kind of thing. This is not played out yet, and I'm ready for more of that.
All right.
Good points.
Any last thoughts on The Last of Us Part 2? I mean, we're gonna make more
good.
videos probably, but for this.
That was a pretty goodly sized joint they had at the beginning of the video. Where do you get
That
weed
was
during
a
a
fat
zombie
J.
apocalypse?
Also,
like
Would you smoke
everything
weed during a
seems
zombie
so-
apocalypse, dude?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be
Yes.
smoking weed. Like
I'd be
if you're gonna
fucking
go out and
paranoid,
hunt
man.
zombies on
Yeah.
a horse, like that's not
That's fucked up,
that's
dude.
not what you want to be doing. Or maybe it is, but I don't know. I've never been there.
All right, fair.
That's why
final
the zombies
point.
are trying to get him, dude. They want that kush.
They want
They
it.
want that
They
loud.
can't operate it without
They
it.
can
want that
smell it.
loud.
They can smell it.
They can smell it.
All right, well, I think we are officially kicked on The Last of Us Part 2, much like
For now.
that fat J. Brian, what should our viewers do to get more Last of Us Part 2 discussion and analysis?
Where we
From
come
us.
out with it, of course.
From
Well,
us,
you
from
know,
us.
well, like Chris was saying, if you are slowly developed into a person who can kill and destroy without remorse, go ahead and let us know what that experience has been like down in the word box there. And if you subscribe to this channel, of course, we do come out with lots more content like this. So if you watched this far, you probably liked it. Why don't you throw us a sub? We did just pass 1,000 subs, so thanks again for that, guys. That's really huge for us. So throw us a sub if you like this video, and smoke them if you got them, guys. That's all for me tonight, Chris.
All right, thank you, Brian. We'll catch you guys next time.